Hello and welcome to the Spotlight Show. I'm your host. My name is Jabez Napoleon Ogbole, and I'm very happy and excited to be with you today, Sunday, May 2021. So wherever you may be, because we have viewers from across the world, I want to say good morning, good afternoon, and of course good evening, depending on your time zone. Thank you so much for being able to spend time with us today, and I'm very very excited. So please share, subscribe, like, go to our Facebook and our YouTube, GBKM TV, and of course, download our app on Play Store and Apple Store. It's GBKM, very simple and straightforward. So that way, once we are live, you can get notification and watch us either on YouTube or on the app. And remember, we have other shows as well, not just Spotlight. And so please, check out other shows on our network, and of course, go to our website www.gbkn.fm. How are you doing today? I'm doing great. So I hope you're keeping safe and you're doing very well. So thank you so much. We are live right now on our app and on our Facebook and YouTube. So please remember, we are coming live to you from the city of Toronto in GBKM studio, okay, in Canada. So thank you so much. And this show is made possible by viewers like you and of course our sponsors. We must always appreciate their sponsorship and patronage. They make this show possible every week. Special thanks to African Young Entrepreneur, www.ayeonline.org. Thanks to Imani's Place, www.imanisplace.org. Pan-African Arts, Culture and Trade Institute, thank you so very much, www.pakati.org. Daniola Corporation, wonderful startup company in mining, thank you so much. And of course, Top Run Consulting, the leaders in IT training and certification. Check them out, www.toprun.ca. So guys, what is today about? Today is going to be very, very interesting. Why? Because the topic is something that's going to benefit you and I. What are we going to talk about? We have a special guest. We're going to bring the special guest very soon. But we want to take a look at his journey and the products and services that he's been offering and how you can recover unclaimed tax refund, increase your cash flow, and of course, eliminate your debt. So I want to say it's going to be very, very interesting. So sit back, relax, and of course, tell your friends and family about this show. And I'd like to introduce my special guest. This is somebody who is so passionate about your success. He's been helping individuals and organization make better decisions with regards to wealth creation. I'm very, very happy today to introduce Mr. Leron Baptiste. Yes, hello, sir. How you doing, sir?
Hey guys, thank you for having me. I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, man. I'm doing great, but I think I'm going to do better after this show with the wealth of knowledge you have to share with us today.
Well, I feel the same. I appreciate the fact that I'm able to come into your platform to speak to your viewers and give them a little bit of insight on what we do and how we can help them, or anyone that they believe can take the help that we can give.
Awesome, awesome. That's what this show is all about. We want to go out there bringing subject matter experts, do a lot of fact finding. That way we bring accurate information to our community so they can make informed decisions. And I'm happy that you're available today to actually help us with that. I know you personally, and a lot of people do not know you. So why don't you tell us more about who you are and what you do,
Ah,
sir?
well, like as mentioned, my name is Leron, last name Batiste, and I've been living in Toronto for over 20 years. Originally from Grenada, that's in the Caribbean. Yeah, but I came here as a young boy, and I've always had this passion for business. It's been something that I've always wanted to pursue. I initially started off by just doing little parties for my schools, doing parties for other organization I was part of, which is such as my martial art club. So I would use those facilities to actually put on events. And after high school, everyone will still ask me, "Hey, when is your next party? When is your next party?" And then I went on to the idea of starting something called Next Party,
Oh,
and from there I just branched off, and settled into a space where I actually wasn't comfortable with for too long, and that's working with an organization that I just didn't see myself fitting into, and that's the 9 to 5, right? So eventually, after being at that company for about 8 years, I packed up and I just left, and everyone was actually quite surprised because we're looking at how much we were making every 2 weeks, and I would have loved to have been able to take one of my friends and say, "Hey, listen, guys, take my job because I'm ready to move on." But of course, the corporate world doesn't work like that, right? You got to get qualified or invited through the stages of just being interviewed and whatnot, and getting the job, right? But for me, it was time for me to move on and just try to reach out there to any kind of entrepreneurial positions that I can put myself in. And I initially I started off going into the mortgage world. Got some experience from there. Then I went into insurance. I I looked at taxes. There's so many different aspects of finance that I became more aware of, and it was never a position that I was leading. It was just I was always tagging in the shadow of someone else, learning what they've already seem to have mastered,
Hmm.
right? And in doing so, I was able to collectively see a different picture, right? Coming from an innovative stance, I was able to see things that not necessarily other people couldn't see, but I knew that was probably the direction that I was going to push if I was going to get involved in the financial space. It was a way of just looking at all aspects of finance and trying to wrap it all together, and present that gambit to our clients as and really just show them how one aspect of finance could, basically enhance another aspect of such, right? And collectively, the idea was, hey, let's see if I could find a way to help clients retrieve money,
Hmm.
right, where it creates a level of credibility. And tax reclaim is actually was one of that service that was available.
Okay.
I've seen so many different other services and opportunity in the financial space that most of them has just actually been swept under the rug.
Hmm.
Still very relevant, but for some reason, it's just every time something new comes out, we replace sometimes some of the most functional services
Hmm.
with the new, and it was just time to really just pull some of those old services back out, dust them off, and really just put them back on the market, or even just use some of the old strategies to kind of come up with new services to present to the public, right? And that's where Personal Banker was born. It came up with the idea. I mean, it came with the idea of just basically holistically just pulling everything together and bringing it all under one umbrella.
Yeah.
And for us, we just thought, hey, tax reclaim would be a really strong point because it was the lowest hanging fruit in,
Hmm.
in in regards to catching people's attention and bringing them in, because credibility in the market is it's something that's difficult when you're starting off as an entrepreneur. We're starting off any business, so it was a way of just given to your audience, and made them feel good about it.
Yeah.
Where too they were inviting other people to see the service, and the truth is many of them was actually shocked when we introduced tax reclaim because no one has actually heard of it.
Yeah.
Yet it's been around for so many.
And I like the fact that you brought that up because I try to today's discussion, because of your tenacity and your wealth of knowledge. I want to gauge into three dimensions. Tax, cash flow, debt elimination, and with personal banker, because I check out your services, I check out your website, and it's mind blowing. I was discussing in the studio today, just before you came live, that some of the services, is it even possible? So now that you bring that up, tell us more about personal banker. Because when people hear personal banker, they think about the cashier or the personal banker in a branch of a bank. But you have a website, www.personalbanker.ca. Tell us more about that.
The personal banker, it's we wanted to go off the name and use the name personal banker because the idea is, hey, listen, we don't need to get you don't need to have a financial advisor. You don't need to go to the bank to understand your finances, because if we're able to teach you certain fundamentals of finance, then you'll be able to make those decisions yourself, right? And essentially you'll be your own personal banker, right? So the idea behind the name is to encourage everyone or empower them so that they can see themselves as their own personal banker, and they can make an informed decision when it comes to their finances, given certain leads and the platform to actually build off of.
Okay. No, that's interesting. And because personal banker, because I was going through, and I know you talk about something that stood out to me was about it says refunds. So
Yes.
Leron,
So on
what is that? Is that even possible?
Absolutely, absolutely. We've been doing it. We've been doing it for thousands and thousands of people. Unclaimed refunds is generally it's this product that we have in the market called tax reclaim, and the idea is being able to go back up to 10 years, right, of previously filed taxes to assess whether or not you've left any money that you're eligible for on the table, and that's either through credits or just refunds that were not claimed, right? statistically, there's about one in two, more than one in two Canadians misfile their taxes. In other words, they're eligible for certain credits, certain refunds that they did not claim while filing. So we're able to now go back up to 10 years of filing to assess whether or not that client have left anything behind. And if we're able to identify it, we'll file an amendment through the CRA and collect that money for you at a fee. And the beauty of it, it's there's no upfront cost for us to identify and claim this refund for you. We'll just take a percentage from the money once you get it, right? So
Oh.
your contingency is, hey, there's no money found. The service doesn't cost you anything. So basically, it's a free opportunity for people to really look and see if they can identify any missed refunds. And your audience will be happy to know that there's an average return of, I would say, it's over $3,000, definitely over $2,500, just from the data we've collected on our own. We've seen quite a bit of money, and average, but we've seen many. I've actually had some friends personally reclaimed over 10,000, 13,000. I've had some with 8,500. It's There's quite a bit of money out there for people,
Yeah,
and
and
if
yeah.
you look, there's a very good chance that you'll find it. And like I said, at least one in every two Canadian have misfiled their taxes along the 10-year duration.
Hmm.
And we can go back at any point and look to see if they've actually, in fact, done so and make that claim for them.
Yeah, that's interesting, Leroy, and I like that because one thing I noticed within the black community in Canada. So I mean, when you talk about reclaiming your recovering unclaimed refund, specifically for Canadian taxes.
Uh, this time, right now it is. But hey, we're looking to hit the globe, right? Essentially, we would like to start off with within our area,
Hmm.
and stretch from beyond, right? It's We have enough people on the team that understand taxes outside of Canada to set up those programs. But of course, we'd like to work with our Canadian population first and create that branding and awareness. So when we do step out, there's a lot of credibility around what we already do.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. That's very interesting. So, I mean, because my show is geared towards everyone, but I want to empower, the black community. Because there's a whole lot of misconception about taxes. And people, I notice a lot of people don't even use accountant to file taxes because CRA, Canada Revenue Agencies, make it so flexible. And even people, per individual, are trained to file taxes. So there's a whole lot of mistakes. And CRA is changing threshold and adding additional information every now and then. So, and I believe that a lot of people will definitely, benefit from your services because if they go 10 years, I'm sure myself, if I go 10 years back, and I'm sure I'm going to get something back from the government. So, but
Let me look for you.
definitely. So for those skeptics right now thinking, oh, I don't want to, I'm so scared of CRA, I file my taxes, I don't want to open up anything anymore, any kind of one. But the truth of the matter is, this is like CRA, CRA get paid from the money you make. So it's your money. So what do you have to those people that is scared or thinking that, oh, if I open up my tax return 5 years ago, maybe I may owe more taxes. What is your words, your advice to them?
Actually, no, that's an amazing question. We actually get it a lot with our audience. We get a lot with our clients. That's one of the first thing that concerns them is if we go back and amend their taxes that we're triggering an audit. But amending your taxes, it doesn't trigger an audit, right? Because we're not actually refiling your taxes. We're just identifying things that you're eligible for, credits that you're eligible for that were not claimed. And once we're able to point that out and CR is able to acknowledge that, then it's as simple as it being pointed out and CR acknowledging it, and it doesn't trigger any audit, right? So many people are concerned about that, but again, it's hey, what were you when you last filed your taxes? Were there any credits, right? Based on whether or not everyone there's over 8,000 different credits available to Canadians.
Hmm.
No one individual will be eligible for all 8,000 plus. But there are many times that who knows, you might have an elderly dependent living with you, and that's a credit that many people don't claim. There are so many different disabilities that people aren't even aware that are considered a disability when it comes to your taxes and filing your taxes, right? Even something as simple as being a diabetic and taking insulin. That's a credit that's available to a lot of people who are insulin dependent, right? But they're not aware of it, so they're not claiming that credit. And we're able to identify these things and point it back out to CRA, where CRA would then confirm, hey, no, well, this is a credit, and if this client actually falls in this position, then it rightfully is theirs, right? Believe it or not, and I'm stating this from sources, right, that there's upwards of $50 billion in reserve for unclaimed taxes. In other words, when we look at the whole, last 10 years of tax filing and misfiling and whatnot, collectively, there's about $50 billion that were not claimed, and CRA have hold of that, right? So it's your job to go back now and claim some of that money if it belongs to you, or all of it if it belongs to you, as a matter of fact. But once we cross over that 11th year mark, then you'll lose whatever is in the tail end, right? So, and who knows, maybe the tail end is your biggest pot, right? So maybe in year 10, right, previous 10 years, maybe year 10, you would have collected, you would have left $5,000 behind because of whatever your situation was, or and then now you've lost it because you've gone on an additional year, right? And they only allow you to go back 10 years, right? Your last 10 years filed, right? So every year you delay looking into your last 10 years, you're losing a year, right? You're putting it in the back, and as you're gaining one with the new year that we go into.
That's why I love Canada. You're talking about over 50 billion of our claim funds available out there. That's interesting. So for those who may see the recording and they're like, you know what, this is too good to be true, I need to really tap into this. How can they access your service? What's the mode?
Yeah, pretty straightforward. You can go into our website, like you stated, Personal Banker, PERSONALBANKER.ca, and go under services, and you'll see our 10-year tax reclaim. There are many other services that we provide as well. But specifically for the tax reclaim, 10-year tax reclaim, you can go on our online, or you can just look us up on Facebook. We do put up many ads on Facebook. I'm sure if you look for our page, you'll be able to find us on Facebook or just any social media platform. We've tried to spread ourselves out for branding and credibility. With the digital space, there's a lot you have to put into it. You have to put a lot of time into it and a lot of effort into getting your name out there. And so we try to on every platform, we try to establish ourselves, so it becomes one of those things that as soon as people see our logo, they know exactly who we are, and that concern of credibility is no longer a concern.
It's not an issue. Oh no, definitely. That's why we have you on the spotlight today, because in the community you're one of those individuals that's really gone above and beyond, and your service is so amazing. So guys, we have so much to ask Leron today. We just talk about being able to recover unclaimed tax refunds. I know you're an expert on debt elimination, because on your website you use the word elimination, not management. So that's another very interesting aspect I want to talk about. I got debts and I need them to be eliminated. I'm sure so many people are. But before we go in there, we're going to take a quick break. So guys, sit back, relax. We're just going to go a quick break, and we're going to be back, and we're going to talk about how to eliminate your debt and how to acquire generational wealth. So please sit back. We still have Leron with us, and we'll be right back.
My name is Carol, and I'm currently a project coordinator. I took the project management course. I learned a number of things, one of which was interview skills. I learned about the Agile framework and how that's very different from the waterfall model of project management.
At Top Run Consulting, the key unique area that we try to focus on is not to just impart certification knowledge, but the application of real-world tools.
Back in June 2017, I did the business analysis course at Top Run. I learned the basic and advanced skills and tools to be successful in business analysis field.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. We are still on the Spotlight Show. I'm your host, JP Napoleon Ogbale. And if you're with us prior to the break, you saw that we've been talking so much about how to, reclaim or recover unclaimed tax refunds. And now we're going to go into the topic of debt elimination. So please, tell your friends and loved ones about this program. Share, like, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And of course, download our app on the App Store, on Play Store, GBKM. All right, guys. So Leron Baptiste is still with us. And Leron, before we went to a break, I said I was so interested about debt elimination, not management. So on average, this is from your site. On average, Canadian debts and taxes account for approximately a third of their income. You think that is way too much? And I'm just wondering, what does your company do? Why do you say it's way too much? Is there a secret that you have that we're not aware of?
Well, I mean, a third of your income, what are you left with after that?
That's true. Nothing.
Right, when a third of your income into debt, right? You're not really left with much, right? So then you become that you become into that robotic flow of just paycheck to paycheck, right? And that's not sustainable for anyone who's trying to create intergenerational wealth, right? You're working more than you're allowing money to work for you. Eventually, you'll run out of steam, right? So within our company, we identified, the three different places or three different areas that actually take away the most of from your income, and we understand that's interest. We understand insurance, and we understand taxes, right? These are the areas. So if we're able to minimize the amount of insurance, if we could minimize the amount that we spend on insurance, the amount that we spend on our taxes and also interest, then essentially we're able to put you in a better position. But it doesn't stop there. With debt elimination, we look at what's the fastest way that we could, for example, get you out of a mortgage, right? And with certain payment algorithms or changes and so forth, set up a certain mortgages, and we're able to essentially eliminate your mortgage in as little as half the time or less, right? Without you having to pay any more than what you're currently paying, right? And it's, again, it goes back to certain strategies that could be used and were being used, and they were once swept under the rug, right? Again, we've gone in, we've dusted off some of these strategies that actually worked and are still relevant, and we implement them in our quest to really get people to financial freedom, right? And that's with debt elimination. So again, we'll minimize the amount of interest that you're paying on your debts.
Okay.
Right. We'll minimize the amount of insurance that you're paying.
Okay.
Right. And we'll minimize the amount that you're paying on your taxes.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
So even by the law of tax, like, every Canadian has the right to minimize the amount that they spend on their taxes, right? So understanding strategies that can be put forth, right? We like to bring those into the forefront for our clients to utilize to their advantage, right? We help them all the way. We help them from the time that they become interested in our service, till we can get them on all the way to the end of their journey. Wow. Right? And doing so, it's just based on, certain skill set internally that's been occupied over the years, and now we're able to outline that for our clients and get them towards financial stability, or at least the financial freedom.
Wow, man! That's awesome, because all I could hear there was help, help, help. So you're focused on really helping people, which is amazing, and I like that fact, because not only not only are you helping people identify some of the unclaimed taxes that they refund that they missed on, you're also helping them do more like financial planning. Now I see why you call yourself personal banker, because this is actually what a personal. So a lot of us can afford a personal banker, but at least I know that we can go out to you, and that way you can look at our income, look at our taxes, the entire portfolio, and be able to advise us on the best direction.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And it's not a we do not take any sort of bias approach with our clients. It's we've built a system, in our own proprietary system to identify the best way forward for our clients.
Okay.
Right? It's not based on us working for a certain insurance company or working with the banks or anything like that. It's just based on, hey, what is the unique approach for these clients? And I say unique as in every single client have their own situation, and we have to look at it specifically, right? And our system, just based on certain algorithms, our calculation that we've created, we're able to individualize a blueprint for each one of these clients and help them along the journey. I mean, this might sound a little exaggerant, but it's actually not. Within 3 to 5 years, we could literally take our clients out of their situation into financial freedom, right? Majority of our clients we can do that with. Canadians are or there's a large percentage of Canadians that are actually in position right now, especially when you look at equity in their homes and so forth, how we could utilize certain strategies to just get them into a very, very unique position. And I say unique because it's very unusual for some people to see themselves being in that position in such a short period of time.
Yeah.
Right. And retirement for most people, it's getting to a certain age, right? And the truth is,
Okay.
for us, we see it as, being in a certain position. So there's no age really attached to retirement. It's just being amount certain strategies that you've pretty much circle yourself with to really take care of whatever your overheads are and create enough cash flow for you to go on and live your life without necessarily having to work.
Yeah.
Once we've gotten you to that financial balance point, which is basically how our strategies can be utilized to take care of all your expenses,
That's
and
amazing.
therefore you don't have to worry about necessarily working. You can take that time now to do whatever it is that you care to do, whether it be finance, whether it be entrepreneurial, whether
Yeah.
it be helping out other people and whatnot. Working a 9 to 5 is no longer necessarily
Yes.
a
The only way.
means to an
Yeah.
end, right? When you have when you reach that balance, your investments or whatever strategies put forth can bring in enough
Awesome.
cash flow to take care of all your bills plus.
All right. No, that's very true. That's very true, Leron. And I'm happy you use the word cash flow, and you use some of those buzzwords, generational wealth, which is something I'm very, very interested in. But before we even go into that, something that caught my attention when I was on your website was you have classes for behavioral finance, which which is no longer happening because of the COVID. And I know you're very disciplined because, no, guys, I have to tell you something about Leron. Leron is someone that practices what he preaches. When I saw behavioral finance, because you are one of the people that told me about having cold shower and how that gives you energy. And I've been practicing it, and I've been able to maintain my weight, and my metabolism is good because I shower in the morning with cold water. It's not easy, though. You also talk about intermittent fasting. So I'm like, this guy is taking, consciousness and discipline and behavior into finance. What is all this behavioral finance? Can you explain to us?
Well, guys, we have to see that as a holistic approach, right? Whenever you do things in silos, they seem to work within that space, but overall, when you look at it in a broader picture, does it affect any other areas of the overall picture, the vision, right? And that's why it's good from the start to look at the whole picture as opposed to just specifically one area. So whether it be just taxes, whether it be insurance, whether it be real estate or whatever it might be in front of you, we have to look at the whole picture. right? When it comes to behavioral finance, often we understand what the issue is and how it can, how and what's needed as a solution,
Mm-hmm.
right? But the application is never always, it's not always utilized,
Mm.
right? So the lack of application, though we understand, right, it affects most people when it comes to their finances, right?
Oh.
So we understand that, hey, listen, for myself, I understand if
Mm-hmm.
I eat a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to affect certain things about with me. And my weight might get out of control, metabolism might be affected, just one thing to the other. But
Yep.
knowing that, it doesn't mean that I don't stop eating the things that I shouldn't be eating, right? It doesn't mean that I exercise, knowing that exercising gives me certain benefits
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot. So behavioral finance is taking on certain behaviors, right, and putting it into place so that we're able